Mark, happy Labor Day.
Hey, happy Labor Day to you too.
Yeah. We're gonna go and we're gonna take a look. We're gonna take a look at some of the labors that are going on within um, absolute power. We got three, not one, not two, but three different things to cover, and we'll do that all right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button before you leave. Make sure you leave us a comment and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Because we do upload new content pretty much every week, sometimes even twice a week. You never know. We're like that. We're funny that way. Um, we are
Very
getting towards what's that?
very inconsistent these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's all right though.
It's my fault,
It,
everybody. I
it,
apologize.
right.
I'm not apologizing to you. I'm apologizing to the viewers.
You're apologizing, but you're not sorry.
Not sorry at all.
Um, we have three books this time. We are now on the back half of Absolute Power at Task Force 7. Let's take a look at that one first. This time we get to see Velocity taking on Barry Allen.
Yeah, so this one starts off with Linda at her news operation as they're trying to make heads or tails of all the crazy reports. Recap, remember, Amanda Waller is using the advanced AI inside Queen Brainiac to do like a blitzkrieg of media across the planet with fake stories, and no one can tell what's real or not. If you have social media, you know how weird this AI is getting. Imagine if someone implements it in a dangerous way. And that's exactly what Waller's done. So why they're trying to figure out what's going on. Speedsters are flying all around the city and all around them. We're getting dialogue from this Velocity character, which is the nickname of this Amazo, as he has absorbed the Speed Force from numerous speedsters. He's now focusing on the last one that he feels he needs, and that is Barry frickin' Allen, who has been able to outrun him up to this point. And they also mentioned in a great way right off the bat, this is not the slowest speedster, nor is he the fastest.
Yes,
Team Wally.
exactly. And this one is structured a little bit differently because, if I'm not mistaken, this is kind of the first time we really kind of almost the whole story is done from the perspective of Velocity. We hear a lot of the
Mhm.
internal dialogue that's going on with Velocity in this one.
Yeah. And which is a great treat because Barry's moving so fast and we're familiar with Barry, but we've said it before. The coolest parts of this Task Force 7 is trying to get more information and detail on these Amazo robots. They're all brand new characters for this event. I mean, I don't necessarily want to see him beyond this event. We have Amazo, but it's cool getting time with him. And we spent a lot of time with him as he's chasing the Flash. You're getting to see what he's thinking about him. As I said, he observed that he's not the slowest and he's not the fastest. He grabs the Flash and Barry immediately phases through the floor, and his reaction is fascinating. You know, the robot is genuinely fascinated by Barry, and he's looking at what he does, analyzing what he does, and he's processing how to do it as well. And to keep the fight going, to keep the chase alive, he does just that.
Yeah, one of the things that I think has been lost, I think, in some of these, it started off with okay, and there was kind of a fun little side thing to do was to try to figure out which of the Zeranaz was inside of each of these Amazos. Um, and I feel like that's kind of gone by the wayside now. It's just kind of,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is too bad because it was kind of like I said, it was kind of like a fun little thing. Like the first one, we kind of thought it was kind of from Gotham by Gaslight, and then one of them may have been the Adam West one, and those type of things. But
Now it
um,
seems irrelevant.
exactly, it's not even. It's just like I think it was just like a throwaway thing that they did at the beginning. Now,
Yeah. So at this point, Flash runs to the Flash Museum, and Velocity's thinking, like, what a vain thing to do to fight me amongst a hall of praise to you kind of thing. But he quickly realizes that Barry's going there for the resources that exist in there. He goes and he's looking around and he says, I found it. And you see this blue glowing feather contained in the cylinder. And as he's reaching for it, Velocity's processing. He goes, oh, an extra dimensional object. I'm sure it's probably trying to use it to shut it down. Shame to destroy such an interesting item, but he does. He destroys it before Flash can get it. I'm not too sure what that feather even was.
yeah,
I'm not they didn't really address it or go into it. But as soon as it gets destroyed, Barry's like, "Oh no, not like this!" Like that was his Hail Mary. So he pretty much just takes off. He just books it. One final move up his sleeve. He's going to run this Joker into the Speed Force. You follow too close. When he goes, you go, kind of thing. And that's exactly what happens. They go running. Barry hits him a few times. Boom! You get the explosion, and next thing you know, Velocity's looking at young Barry and young Wally, and
Mhm.
they can't see Velocity. He's just kind of outside of time while present with them, and he's lost in the Speed Force.
Yeah, and we see this scene. It is basically Barry teaching Wally how to basically move through objects, and
Phase
it's
through
not
walls.
exactly. And he says basically the key is not to think about the object that you're facing through. It's to think about where you want to go. Don't think of it as an obstacle. Think of it as a door that you have to go through.
And Velocity's tracking all of this.
Mhm.
He's learning all of this, and he ends up kind of fading to the next little place where you see like a young Barry before he even has a suit, when he has like his proto suit on, like just pants and a t-shirt and an improvised suit, and Iris, no, yeah, Iris on the other side of the door wanting to see him, but he's hurt inside. He's got a bullet wound, and you Velocity's watching him try to figure out how to save his own life and phase into
Mhm.
himself and all of this stuff. And Velocity's learning quick. He's a fast learner, and he also realizes like the whole lightning rod concept here. Like being a speedster, you always have to stay grounded, and every one of these speedsters has their own lightning rod that keeps them grounded. Which they really kind of dove into that concept beautifully when we came out of the New 52 era, and we brought Wally West back
Mhm.
with Barry being his lightning rod kind of thing. And so this is giving Velocity the knowledge he needs to get out of the Speed Force. He knows how to think ahead to where he wants to be. He needs to know what is it that's grounding me. And in this moment, the only thing that I can process as wanting is Barry Allen. So
Mhm.
he makes it to him.
Right. And then that's what ends. And then we go back to our three or
Freaking
four page
Steve
scene.
Trevor.
Exactly, Steve Trevor, who gets 3 or 4 pages in every issue of Task Force 7. Um, we basically see him. He is, if you recall, he's kind of been skulking around Gamora,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how he can help the heroes. And he comes upon
What's really going on.
right in the last issue. We saw them building this big like Stargate type machine,
Yeah,
and so
Waller had
now,
all the villains at gunpoint building this fantastical looking Stargate, and that's
mhm,
where they left us.
right,
It just went from bad to worse, though.
exactly, because now it's active.
Mm.
And so we see this figure come through, who's standing there talking to Amanda Waller, basically, and we come to find out that Steve Trevor recognizes the voice of the person that is talking to Amanda Waller. He can't see them right at the very beginning, but he says, "I recognize that voice, although I recognize the voice, the tone, and what she's saying doesn't sound familiar to me." Um,
And what
and that
she says is fantastic too, because before the reveal, you hear the voice say, "Should your delectable little coup encounter any obstacles to its success, my associates and I will remove them." And Amanda Waller says, "An insurance policy."
right,
And then you see the freaking through the Stargate, the crime syndicate is on the freaking scene, to be continued. These books are non-negotiable.
right,
They have to be read. The Task
right,
Force books. This is major parts of the event happening inside the pages of these things.
right.
This all started, freaking caught it forever ago. We've been talking about
Mhm,
this, that she took over Earth 3. They're not going to leave that alone. It's been years now,
mhm,
years, but they're here.
right. Obviously, that voice was Donna Troy, um, leading the crime syndicate. So yeah, it's all coming full circle. It's all that needs to show up next is Rick Flag needs to show up, right?
Rick freaking Flag.
Mhm. Yeah, just a great ending to the story. Um,
Yeah,
and if you
like his
think,
Flash and Velocity are still running.
mhm, right, exactly. Um, So there's only two more issues left of that. But yeah, it's every single issue has just been well worth your time. And you point it is not something that you can not invest in. You won't have the full story if you're not reading the task force. However, um,
However,
Absolute
yeah, this,
Power Origins,
yeah,
great
this is
cover again.
I will say this is a take it or leave it series because it's like
Mhm.
origining Amanda Waller. It's just for context for people that might not be familiar with her,
Mhm.
giving some rhyme or reason to her in a new light. It's highly unnecessary, in my opinion.
Right. It flashes back. Actually, funny enough, it flashes back to. It starts with a fight between Amazo and the Justice League.
Yeah, you get what looks like Batman v Superman for a second.
Mhm.
But they're fighting Amazo. Amanda Waller's talking about these people with powers, and we need powers. The whole point of this is the three issues to highlight from Amanda Waller's origin to where she is now. So we kind of move up in time to an era where you kind of see her motivation behind needing to form her own super team. And that's what you see in this issue. She's witnessing the heroes and villains and thinking we need something like that in our control. Birth of the Suicide Squad, using her resources. At this point, she's embedded in the government. She's influential. We saw how she got there in the last issue, and now she's using her cunning lies to trick poor Saps into being meat for her grinder.
Right. And we see. I mean, there are some side things. We see something going on with her daughter and her daughter's fiance, where Amanda Waller shows the fiance something on her phone, and says,
Blackmailing even her
exactly,
daughter's
blackmail.
boyfriend.
Exactly. Um, we
That's
see
Amanda Waller's superpower,
E-
blackmail.
Exactly. We see cyclotron, and we kind of see through, cyclotron, and some of the original heroes, some of the original villains that she pieced together. Um, we see the evolution of, and where the idea comes up with having those things that are implanted into people's brains. That comes through in this issue as well. We got
Yeah,
a
this
couple
is like
pages of.
it's like Suicide Squad team minus one. You see, like the first proto team that goes out and it doesn't stay as tight as she would want it, and she has to just they're all expendable. She takes them all out and has a mess on her hands to have to clean up to make sure no one knows what happens. And they use that as the reason why the head bombs get implemented, so she could control them on a more precise individual scale
Right, because the way that it happened here is she basically, in order to get rid of them, they ended up detonating a nuclear device,
inside of
low
Cyclotron.
inside of cyclotron. Um, you know, and how she did that was she basically just told Lobo, "Hey, kill Cyclotron, I'll double your money." And
Okay,
then, yeah, exactly. And that's basically how she did it. So, yeah, this is the cleaner, more efficient way of controlling people. By the end of
Mhm.
the issue, she has a tiny little thing that will be implanted into people's brains. So,
Yeah, which was what is it retrofitted from studying cyclotron even, which was pretty cool. And by the end you get a little teaser of like the real history of the Suicide Squad, and I mean that in all syllables, the real history of the Suicide Squad, because you see the OG team up on the screen getting ready to be implemented with those brain bombs, which I thought was pretty cool. A little nod to DC Legends and the first OG team.
yeah, you get you have Captain Boomerang. Bronze Tiger, right, was in the back there.
Mm-hmm.
Deadshot, right, was there.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Enchantress, I believe.
Enchantress, yep, yep, yep. So,
But it wasn't a bad issue. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't a bad issue. It didn't service the active current day absolute power storyline, but it's also not supposed to. This is an Amanda Waller origin story, and it did that just fine.
yes. So the difference in Task Force 7 is going to have real implications on what happens in Absolute Power. Whereas this Origins is kind of filling in the past and telling you how people got to where they are.
Just
Doesn't
Waller's motivation for all this.
exactly. Exactly. And then these tie-ins um, have actually been, pretty good, and have actually had some real-world implications as well for what's going on in the main series as well. So
Mhm.
um,
And they also
here,
stand really well as just their kind of their own series. If you're only reading Green Arrow, you're not going to be sad that it's an absolute power adjacent kind of thing either.
right,
And this starts off with something that is clearly going to be something major in absolute power. We get, I don't want to say a flashback, we get like a scene over here kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The main Arrow family's happening over here, but a scene over here where Ollie is, you see him digging something up and someone talking to him saying, "You don't get it. One day we're all going to die because of your friends." He continues digging. You're not even like them. Maybe that's why they don't really trust you. He's still digging. He says, "Yes." And he pulls up this box out of the ground with this symbol on it that looks like a leaf or a star or a weird pot leaf star is what I would call it. But then you see him talking to Martian Manhunter. He says, "Keep this box safe. It is perhaps the most dangerous weapon on the planet, and it is the key to destroying the Justice League if the need arises." He opens the box. You don't see what's in the box. Very Pulp Fiction here. The box just has some light in it, and he responds with a bad word. And then he says, "John, you," and he snaps it shut. It looked like green light emitting from it.
Yes.
I immediately think it might be a lantern ring.
Well,
Then I
could
realized
be.
he's getting it from a Martian. So maybe it's something new, but it's something he clearly recognized by looking at it. So I'm thinking maybe it's a ring, but he's got what he wanted. He calls for pickup, and air support says, "We ain't got nothing right now," because Bright took the air support to go address Dr. Ivo, which and the Arrow family, which is where we left him fighting.
Right. And he says, and the guy on the other end says, "Oh, Bright says that you sent him on this mission."
Yeah, dick move.
um, and so then we join up where the story ended, where last issue ended, with basically the entire Green Arrow family falling out of the sky. And so Speedy, or Arsenal, or whatever you want to
Pick a
call him,
name. Pick a
exactly.
name.
Yeah, basically says to everyone, "Parachute arrows," and that's when Red Canary says, "By the way, I don't have arrows."
But yeah, the other Speedy catches her and they
Mhm.
fall down, and then we immediately see what is the name of this lady robot?
Oh, Tomorrow Woman, right?
Yeah, Tomorrow Woman pops up, continues to fight back and forth for a little bit. They do a little bit of talking to her, saying, "Yo, don't you remember you used to be on our team? Like, what's going on here?" They kind of get that fight to a stop, and that's when uh, more bad guys show up. Plane swoops down, find out that a couple of the Arrow members are stowed away on it. They're trying to beat Bright to Dr. Ivo here. So a fight ensues on the plane. The rest of the team jumps in the jet and on the jet to go catch up to the plane. So just this pretty action-packed issue of fighting all over the plane and on the plane with all the different assault team members that came along with Bright. It's looking pretty not good for all parties involved. Bright shines light on him at one point, and I guess that's supposed to be bad for him or something. I don't really understand how hitting him with a headlight is harmful, but
It
it gets
blinds
to the
them
point where
momentarily.
Bright's holding like is it Lady Shiva
It's
and Art
it's Jade and Leon.
Jade,
Leon.
yeah, holding Roy's family off the
Mhm.
plane, saying like, "I'm going to kill these people. Like, I'm not giving you a choice. I just want to kill them." And they fight back, and they go. No, they get ready to fight back, and someone gets an arrow off on Bright, and you turn the page and look, and it's none other than Ollie coming down, jetpack ablazing, "Get away from my grandchild." Isn't that what he says? Yeah, "Get away from my granddaughter." Yeah,
Mhm.
that's a great shot right there. Like that's a great shot.
It really is. Full page to end the issue. So
Mhm.
so is could this be the moment that now that Green Arrow shows his true colors and what he was really? Is he just is he still with Amanda Waller, but just so pissed at Bright that he's basically doing going against him, or is he kind of showing his true colors and that he's just been kind of kidding biding his time the entire time to try to see what it is that Amanda Waller is doing. We'll find
It's
out
the
in the
obvious one. In my opinion, it
yeah,
seems obvious. He's just and then she's no, they're both just playing each other as far as they can get each other and getting as much out of each other as they can along the way, kind of thing, in my opinion.
yeah. Um, but we'll find out because this week we have the penultimate issue of Absolute Power comes out. Absolute Power number 4 comes out, and the last Batman tie-in comes out as well this week. So some big issues to come out this week with Absolute Power. Um, but yeah, there is really there. I mean, whether you like it or don't, Absolute Power Origins, there really has not really been too many missteps at all so far in
Mhm.
Absolute Power. So, um, and of course, we've talked ad nauseum about how where this is all leading, and I just can't wait to get there.
No,
So,
I'm ready for all in.
exactly, I am all in for all in.
All in for
Uh,
all in.
Yeah, exactly. But that's going to be it. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Don't forget to leave us a comment. Let us know how we're doing. We're here every week. But that's going to be it. As always, I am Paul. He is Mark.
But we are Legion.
And you're now leaving Sector 2815.